Let's go. Another episode of Blue Gems podcast. We're shooting here in Nashville. The pleasure having you, man. TJ Tijani. What is up, bro?
Man,
Let's go,
Thanks
man.
for coming on,
Oh,
brother.
no worries, man. This is a pleasure. It's a true honor to be here with y'all, for sure.
So let's dive in real quick.
Yeah.
Tell us, man, how you got into real estate and specifically why you chose short-term rentals.
Yeah, so it was interesting because real estate was something that once it clicked for me, it clicked. And I knew there was no turning back once it did. I was working as an engineer, working offshore and working on the rigs and the subsea installation vessels. Oh, wow. My job at the time was a subsea installations engineer. So all the crude oils and hydrocarbons that's extracted from subsea, the gas in your car or whatnot, I was the engineer that installed the equipment that extract that stuff. So that was my job. But my job required me to spend a lot of time offshore. And I took a book with me offshore when I graduated college. My friend gave it to me. He said, bro, I watched you hustle and put yourself through school. You should read this book, bro. You're a hustler. And that book was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I took that book with me offshore. And when I read it twice in that 3-week stint that I was out there.
Oh, wow.
And I said, I was like, get me off this boat ASAP. I need to go buy some assets now. So that's when a light bulb moment went off for me, and I knew that I wanted to be in real estate. I knew right then and there it was always going to be real estate for me, and there was no coming back from it. Because I wanted to own assets. And so I started investing in real estate on the side while I was working as an engineer, which was interesting because 60 to 70% of my time was spent on a boat in the Gulf of Mexico. Wow. So imagine talking to sellers on a boat with limited connectivity. You know, they had some boats had like just a payphone, like almost like a payphone system where you literally had to stand in line to call home because the internet sucked that bad. Wow. And so I literally was standing in line, people calling their families and stuff. I'm in line trying to call sellers.
Wow. True hustler, bro. True hustler, bro. No excuses.
Contract. No freaking excuses. You know, so I was picking up probably doing about 1 or 2 wholesale deals a month. Not nothing crazy on the side. Then I started doing long-term buy and hold. Bought my first property with my money, put 20% down on a single family house that was $90,000. I started making $450 net a month. That was my cash flow, right? Then I learned that I can buy real estate with my time instead and learn how to leverage private capital to buy these assets and add value to these assets instead. So I said, okay, if I can limit my cash outlay by buying these assets deferred and adding value, then let's run the play that way. So I started learning about the BRRRR strategy, started leveraging private capital, going to these meetups and whatnot. So I started building a rental portfolio. My goal was to have 10 rental properties before I was going to leave this full-time job. I was laid off in 2017. June 1st, 2017 was was the day I was laid off. I didn't see it coming either. Well, in a way, I can't say I didn't see it coming because when the price of oil was great, everybody's working, everybody's happy. When the price of oil was about $100 a barrel, even though at the time the gas prices were like $3.25 and everybody was pissed about that.
Right.
So, oh my God, the gas is high. It was like over $3. But see, the economy was doing great though. Yeah. And so it's kind of an interesting dynamic what we're dealing with right now. It was very interesting. But when the price of oil went down, nobody was working because the major operators stopped drilling. And when they stopped drilling, we don't have any work. So they had to lay my entire group off that day. And so at the time I had 5 rental properties, even though my goal was to have 10. And so then I decided to just go all into real estate. Wasn't even looking to do short-term rentals at all, not even a little bit. I just saw a video about Airbnbs. And I was like, I had never even stayed in an Airbnb at the time. But the video was talking about how you can make more money on Airbnb than a regular rental property. So I was like, okay, let me furnish this single family house that I'm remodeling right now. This is post being laid off. My first property that when I was laid off, and I spent $14,000 furnishing this property. And I listed it on Airbnb with cell phone photos. And,
what year was this?
This is December 2017.
Wow. Okay.
December 2017. I was laid off June 1st, 2017. Wow. So I launched my first one December 2017. And so the day I listed it, I put the phone down, didn't get no bookings that day. I had an inquiry that I was super geeked about. It was insane. I was like, yes, it's ready, book it. And so they ended up not booking it, but I woke up the next day with 2 confirmed reservations. Wow. And I said, wow, when I ran the numbers and I said, even at 50% occupancy at the month, at the price point that I was at, which is well below market because I was trying to get people in there, I'm still looking at minimum 2x what I would make with a traditional rental. So I said, wow.
No-brainer.
It was a no-brainer. So I went all in and I haven't looked back from short-term rentals ever since. Then it got crazy. Then I learned that I didn't even have to own them. I said, I don't have to own them. So I started owning them. But while I'm fixing it up, doing rental arbitrage, scaling that way. So years later, man, we're where we are, started documenting the process and started teaching people the game. And it's been all she wrote. It's been a hell of a journey so far.
Love that. What a story.
So Just real quick for the audience that's listening, what is rental arbitrage exactly?
Yeah, so rental arbitrage is a strategy to where you can rent a property long term and furnish the property and then sell the use of the property short term. Right. So that's essential arbitrage is you're the middleman. And if anybody knows anything about business, you know you make a lot of money being a middleman. Right. So that's essential arbitrage is you don't own it now. So it's a great way to actually scale the business and leverage other people's properties and very lower barrier to entry. But I always say, as great as arbitrage is, it's amazing. Don't sleep on the wealth component. So I own most of my short-term rentals, even though I love arbitrage. But there's no reason why everybody shouldn't have a goal to own their short-term rentals at a point in time.
Absolutely.
And the path to ownership, to me, my recommendation is go one or two ways. You have one way to where you're picking up these arbitrage units, or when maybe you're managing, doing a co-host situation, but you're generating these cash flows every single month, what I like to call these monthly deposits. Whatever that down payment amount is that you would like on that property, have a goal to get to that amount on a monthly basis. That should be the goal. And then once you get there, then it's like, okay, now I'm going to go from phase 1 to phase 2. I've generated this portfolio of this cash flow. Now I'm going to take that cash and go put down on something, on a property. Now, either that and go from phase 1 to phase 2, or learn how to leverage other people's money and buy these real estate assets. Because the thing is, it costs money to make money in this business. It really does. It really does. It just doesn't have to be your money though. And that's the caveat. When I learned that, that's been my biggest wealth building strategy that there is. So I love arbitrage for the scalability, and I love owning because my yields are better, and I get all the benefits of owning, but that's the wealth component as well. So that's why I love both.
Man. So where's your portfolio today? How many units do you have?
So right now my portfolio is all in Houston. All in Houston right now. We are going to be branching out here pretty soon. And it's interesting because my business model has changed since over the last year or so. So right at the time it was picking up 2 to 4 unit properties I'm going to be able to fix up and leverage private capital to make them short-term rentals after I rehab them. Then I was picking up arbitrage units, maybe 2 here, 3 here, 1 here, picking up arbitrage units. And so now we're kind of shifting our mindset and our business model a little bit. We want a more centralized business. What that means is multiple units in one location. This is why I started my boutique hotel brand. And so the boutique hotel brand now requires us, what I'm doing now is I'm just buying apartment complexes and I'm doing full gut remodels on them and then repositioning them, just running like hotels. So it's funny, people ask me, what makes it a boutique hotel? Because I run it like one. I
call it boutique.
I call it boutique. But what I do is I buy apartments and I convert it to a boutique. And I think it's important for people to know when they're looking to own these assets. And that's one thing I preach all the time. We know that it'll do well as a short-term rental property. Yes, and that's perfect. We want that. But will it cash flow with a regular tenant? That's the question. If it won't cash flow with a regular tenant, I don't know if you still bought it right. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter which way you exit any real estate deal, whether you for arbitrage, whether you long-term rental, whether you own it, whether you doing sub-2, owner finance, you wholesaling it, you're doing flipping it, whatever the case may be. When you own the asset, you make your money when you buy it, not really when you exit. So it really depends on how you got into these deals. So for me, I let people know if they want these properties that they want to purchase to make short-term rentals, make sure that it'll work with a traditional long-term rental, because you don't know what kind of shifts might be made in your particular marketplace. You might need a pivot to make it a long-term rental because ordinances might come down. You might need to change strategies. But if you bought a property that you put yourself in a one single point of failure situation to where it will only make money as a short-term rental, I don't really know if that's a good strategy. That's why I love buying them the way I buy them. I buy them with traditional rental numbers, then I run the play as a short-term rental. That's why my yields are so high. So that's how we've been scaling our business.
Yeah, you have a lot of security with these apartment buildings because that'll be easy to rent out to a long-term tenant.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
100%. Yeah.
Love that.
And so how have you been able to finance so many units?
Yeah. So we love using private capital on the short-term side. So we use private money to fund it. Most of the time, they'll do 70% loan of value. That means 70% of what it's worth once it's in pristine condition. And that's important. They won't lend you based off what you're purchasing for. They'll lend you based off what the property could potentially become. And so they'll say, okay, for clean numbers, if I can buy for $50,000, but it could potentially become worth $100,000 once the remodel is done, the lender will say, okay, well, I'll give you 70% of the ARV, which is the after repair value. So he'll give me $70,000, so I can use the $50,000 to buy it and using the additional $20,000 to fix it up to make it worth $100,000. Now I'm all into the deal. I owe my bank $70,000, but I have a $100,000 asset. right? So that delta, that difference, that's your equity. That's your wealth, right? And so when you're able to do something like that and you're able to leverage private capital, not only is he funding the purchase, but he's also funding the rehab as well. And so then his money is short term. And his money is expensive as heck. His money has high interest. So the goal is to remodel these properties as fast as humanly possible and refinance out of it. I don't mind paying high interest to my short-term lender. Why? Because he got me in the door to buy the deal. If I can secure and close this property with none of my money, do I care if I'm paying him 10, 15%?
Nope.
Absolutely not. Now my goal is to fix it up ASAP. Then I refinance it, pay him off. Now I have a normal, stable, conventional mortgage with the lowest interest rate possible with at minimum 20% equity locked in once you close. And if you do it right, it's none of your money tied up into the deal and you own it. Then you run the play as a short-term rental. Now we get a little freaky with it because we start adding, we actually start factoring in our furnishing cost into the rehab budget. So the furnishing cost is already factored into the loan. So when we're done with the remodel, the lender just sends us whatever's left in the contingencies, and then we take that money to furnish it, already baked into the process. So again, still leveraging OPM, even on the furnishing side. And when done right, it could be a beautiful thing. You just got to understand how to run the numbers on the front end. That's what really it's about.
Love that. So you're predominantly in Houston right now.
Predominantly.
You said you're about to branch out.
Yeah.
What are some markets that you're interested in?
So I'm gonna tell y'all exactly what my markets are because I know exactly what I want in my market.
Love that.
So here's the thing. I'm looking for, because again, we talked about how I'm switching my business model. More centralized business, multiple units in one location. So I'm looking for right now, especially for anybody listening, want to shoot me any deals.
Absolutely.
I'm looking for 15 to 60 doors. That's my sweet spot for these boutique hotels. 15 to 60 doors in major markets in Texas, Arizona, and Florida, in major cities. That's what I'm looking for. Simple.
Love it.
Send me your deals.
So are you marketing for those deals? Or are you mainly networking with
just did.
wholesalers?
Just networking, exactly.
He just marketed.
This is literally my marketing strategy for those deals. I go to networking events, I let people know exactly what I'm looking for, and they send me deals to my email that I sift through every single day. 100%. That's how I find deals.
Wow.
Zero marketing dollars.
So how important it is to have a buy box?
I think it's very important. I think matter of fact, I'm telling you how important it is. It was a point in time in my investment journey, I was out there. I was like, you know what? Hey, give me any deal anywhere. If the number makes sense, send it to me. I don't care where it is. That was my model at a point in time. My opportunities and deal flow didn't really get better until I got more truncated. When I said, okay, this is the Pacific zip code that I want. This is the asset type of property that I want. Only within these kind of 2 to 4 units in these few zip codes, send me what you got. So what I did was I went on the MLS and I looked for agents that were listing, like real listing agents that were consistently listing distressed assets, value add opportunities. So I would call up these agents and I would say, hey, I'm TJ, here's what I'm looking to do. I'm looking at these specific neighborhoods and these zip codes. I see you active in these zip codes. How often do you get these distressed deals? Are you considering listing these distressed deals? Well, I'll tell you what, next time you have one that fits this parameters I need, I'm looking for 2 to 4 doors. I want them at least 2 bedrooms, whatever the case may be. Next time you have one, give me a shot before you list it. Now, once you call a lot of agents or you take them out to coffee or you network with them and tell them this, not a lot of them will even follow through with any of them. I talked to about probably 25 agents and gave the same pitch to. 4 of them now consistently send me deals. Now, the thing is that you ever heard that the money is in a follow-up? And it's so true. Because even when you network and you talk to these agents, it's not that they're just going to start sending you deals all of a sudden at all. Not at all. They're not going to send you anything. You got to hit them up again. Keep touching them, send them a ringless voicemail or send them a text message. Say, hey, this is TJ. Just let you know I'm still looking. I'm still here, still looking. So we'll touch them and they'll keep you in mind. Then they get a deal, then they give you a shot. Now your job is to execute once you put a property under contract. You close that deal, you do what you say you're gonna do, and watch the opportunities that open after that. Because now the agent's like, okay, they are serious. Now they're gonna say, oh, hey, I'm about to get another one next week. You wanna look at that one? They might hit up another agent and say, hey, I just got a buyer, he's looking for this. I just closed on this deal with him. Let me know if you guys, so now the opportunity just kind of opened up.
Opens the floodgates.
Opens the floodgates up. And so that's really my marketing strategy is network, is relationships, is communication. And that's why I tell people in this game of real estate, the real value isn't in the asset. Yes, because we make money from our real estate deals, but the real value is in the network, in the people, the network that you built along the way. That's the real asset in this business, 100%.
Yeah. And they say that, to be able to reach more relationships, right, you use social media.
Yeah.
And they say the most valuable currency in today's world is attention.
Yeah, I agree.
So you have all this attention, you have all of these people that know exactly what you're looking for, and you're funneling your business just through that all 100%. Those relationships.
Yes.
It's incredible.
I like the way Grant Cardone put it. People can think what they want about Grant. He says something that is very, very true. He says, you're not making enough money because not enough people know who you are. And that's just a fact 100%. About it. So yeah, definitely agree with that.
Yeah, it's our digital resume now.
Yeah.
You almost have to have it to level up.
Facts, 100%, 100%.
And we've seen you at Clever Summit, and now you're at STR Wealth. So how important has that been, going and speaking? Man,
I think, it's crucial, but I think more importantly, I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
I like it. I'm always nervous. Every time I get on stage, I'm nervous. Then the moment I start speaking, it just melts away and everything just feels right. And it's crazy because I didn't think that, being an immigrant, shy kid, super scrawny kid, kept to himself, was getting bullied consistently growing up. So I just kept my little shelter. And I never thought in my life that I would be speaking in front of so many people, not only just speaking, but educating them. I realized when I was in college that I actually had a passion to teach because I was so good at math and I was a math tutor. So I was given an opportunity to become a TA, a teaching assistant. So if you don't know, when you're a TA in college, they give you a classroom where it may be it'd be a math class, whatever class is, then they can come to your class because you're like one of the top people doing it.
Wow.
So you can actually teach your other students. And what happens is great because they give you money to go towards your scholarship, towards your tuition. Now, this is massive for me because I was putting myself through college, right? And I had to put myself through college because I wasn't a citizen and I didn't qualify for any scholarships.
Where are you from?
Nigeria.
Oh, wow.
Nigerian immigrant. So I didn't qualify for any scholarships because they wouldn't give it to me because I wasn't a citizen. They wouldn't give me a loan even because I wasn't a citizen. So I had to put myself through school. And when I was given the opportunity to be a TA, I said, oh, awesome, yes. They were gonna give me $3,500 a semester, right? And I was like, man, I told my mom, I said, Mom, I'm getting some help. They're gonna help me. 2 weeks later, literally 2 days before I was supposed to start my first class, oh, TJ, we're so sorry. We did a background check. Sorry, you're not a citizen. You gotta be a citizen for this position. It's like, God, another missed opportunity because of that. They said, okay, we couldn't really do that for you, but we'll still give you just a teaching job, like a tutoring position where they'll pay me $7 an hour, right? And I said, okay, I'll take that. They said, we don't need any citizenship, nothing from you because you're already a student here, so we can get you in there. So when I started doing that, I loved it. And I got so good at it, my review sessions got so big. I'm talking about when I started with like 5 people in the room that I was just tutoring. Then it became 100 people.
Wow.
Then they started giving my whole auditorium just to teach.
That's impressive.
Wow.
And I would teach mathematics to my peers in college. And so I realized that I really, really enjoy doing that. So doing this now is so surreal for me because I don't want to be a teacher like in a classroom, but now I get to teach what I do now. I love doing this. I get to teach, but I love to teach real estate, which is what I do. And I get to teach it from stage, which is kind of crazy, which I never thought that I would do. So it's been a hell of a ride, but I love it.
Yeah, man, that's amazing blessings over and over again.
Massive, man.
But it comes with all the hard work.
Oh, yes.
And the mindset.
100%.
Right? You've been just crushing it and you're so focused. What do you do on a normal basis as far as like, how do you get your mindset right? Do you have a morning ritual? Like, what are you doing every single day?
Yeah. They say how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I agree with that to a sense because with the way that I take care of other areas of my life, it really stems and feeds the business side of my life as well. And so, for example, working out, I take that very seriously. I'm at the gym. That's part of my morning ritual. 6:30 a.m., I'm at the gym. I'm up at about 5:30, which is interesting because even when I was working full time, I wasn't even waking up as early as I do now. I'm working for myself. So I wake up earlier now for myself than I did when I was working full time. But that goes to show the amount of work that's required, right? Because at the end of the day, now it's eat what you kill. If you're going to take your business seriously, you also have to manage the way other areas of your life because they also feed into your business. And I think having that morning ritual is very important to me. And for me, it's waking up, it's reading, it's devotional, then it's working out. It's coming home, getting ready for the day, eating my protein, whatnot. I'm getting my day started by 8 o'clock. I'm getting my day started. Workouts out the way. And to be honest, if I don't work out in the morning, that's likely not going to happen that day at all.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm the same way.
I'm so programmed for it that I don't even feel like, at the end of the day, I do not want to go to the gym. So that's why for me, the mornings, but it's great because it sets the tone for the day. It allows me to just get it out the way. That way I don't have to go out the day to think like, I still got to work out later. God damn, you know what I'm saying? So things like that are very, very important. And I think what also helps with the mindset shift is gratitude. I didn't have the kind of gratitude and just thankful mindset that I do now. When you think about it, like, and I talked about this in Steve Trank's podcast, and and I got this, what's his name? God, I can't even think of his name. But when you think about it, if I were to hand somebody if I was to hand somebody $1 million right now, they'll be super ecstatic. They'll like, man, feel like they can take over the world. They can conquer the world. I mean, they'll have energy. They can feel like they can help people. Everything will change. And so, but if I told that same person, all right, I'll give you $1 million right now, but you don't wake up tomorrow, nobody's taking that deal. Yeah. Why? Because we know that our lives are worth way more than $1 million, right? But if we know that our lives are worth way more than $1 million, but we still wake up every day taking on this burden of life, and we all have things that we're dealing with. But if you're waking up and it's like, woe is me, because I'm going through this and I'm going through this, the mindset shift came when I realized that, man, I'm worth way more than this. So I wake up like, man, instead of, man, I'm going through this, is I get to go through this. I get to get up and get another opportunity to handle the situation and make life better for myself and my family. And so when I changed perspectives, it's almost like the abundance just kind of started flowing. And so that mindset shift was also crucial to my success as well. Just having a more gratitude mindset, no matter what's going on, understanding that, look, there's millions of people that will trade lives with you in a second, regardless of what you're going through. They will take your problems over theirs, easy.
All day long.
And so we all have to understand we're still blessed. You know what I'm saying? And we are, we're going to go through things, but that gratitude mindset changed everything for me, for sure. 100%.
Beautiful, man.
Coming from a W-2 engineering background, how did you become an entrepreneurial, mindset? How did you make that transition? So,
and it's interesting because when you are becoming an entrepreneur, or you're on the way to becoming an entrepreneur, you're in this journey, it's very, very, very important that, well, for one, I had to learn that I didn't have to have all the answers to start, because that was something I had to break out of myself, my mentality, having such an analytical mindset, being an engineer. When I was researching, I was learning real estate, and I was reading the books. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I was on YouTube, I was on Google, and I was a member of YouTube University, and I was reading these books, but I was scared to do any movements, because I was like, man, what if this doesn't work? What if I risk this money? Well, the fear was so heavy, the doubt was so heavy, but I felt like I had to combat that. Let me just learn more. Maybe if I just knew more about it, then I'll move, then I can be more confident to do it. And then I joined the real estate group, and I joined a local group, and I got around the rooms with people that were doing the business and that I wanted to learn from. And somebody told me, he said, TJ, why are you waiting? He said, dude, okay, you have everything that you need. All right, why don't you start? I said, yeah, I'm still doing research. And he said, no, dude. So what are you talking about? I said, no. He said, you don't have to know everything. Just know enough. And you know way more than you need to know to start. Just get going. And so he said, start sourcing deals. You already know how to run the numbers. Run the numbers. Put it on the contract. Let's just start. Take us day by day. And so this journey, you realize that the goals that we have, it's not like we just arrive there and we just arrive and that's the value. What we should really focus on is the journey. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like it's the things that add up on a daily basis, the small things that add up to allow us to get there. So it's not that you have to know everything. You just got to know enough to get going. And so really, that was a mindset shift that was very important for me to really break out of. So it's crazy because coming from the 9-to-5 world into being an entrepreneur, I think a lot of people probably have the same issues that I had, because it's a lot of things that you have to unlearn and then relearn. That the way entrepreneurs think, because a lot of the way entrepreneurs think is not a lot of the ways that a 9-to-5 person thinks. So And so that was definitely a game changer. That was very important to understanding that shift, understanding that, look, as an entrepreneur, you have to take action. The value is in taking massive action. All the studying that I did, once I did one deal, I did one bird deal, and that taught me more than all the freaking research that I had been doing the entire time. And that instilled that confidence. And I started running the play ever since after that.
Powerful.
Yeah.
So there's always levels to everything, right?
Yeah.
You've leveled up, I'm sure, plenty of times in real estate to get to where you are.
Yeah.
What's the most challenging piece in your business right now that's preventing you to get to the next level, in your opinion?
You know, it's interesting when it comes to growing and leveling up. You know, you can be somebody that is doing very well, and you're the man in your local community. You're the man in your marketplace, and people know you're in there where you're at. And then if you keep applying pressure, it's going to come to a point to where, man, it's like you're at this level, you're growing. It's going to come a point to where now you're at this level, but your top level is now the bottom of the next level, right? Because the people are playing at this game now. And so now you're at the bottom of the next level, and you have a decision to make once you get there. And I realized that I was forced to make this decision. The decision is that I could either step into it, knowing that is going to be one of the most challenging things I've ever done, knowing that I'm going to probably fail, knowing the challenges and how difficult it might be to really play at this level. So the option is to step into it, knowing what all it's going to come with, or go back to safety where you're the man at, where you're known at. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I feel like there's been two very paramount times I was faced with that decision, and I stepped into it. No, I just decided to just go. I'm stepping into it because my why is too crucial. My why, I'm thinking about my family. I'm thinking about, because understand, I'm the man in my family. I'm the person that everybody looks to. And so I don't have a choice. I have to step into it. So that growth has been a hell of a journey. This is why the journey is what's important. It's not so much the destination. The journey is what you should embrace on the way there. And so that was a challenge for sure. That was a challenge. But like understanding the assignment and approving the assignment and just stepping into it and putting in that work, man, it's been hard. It's been one of the most challenging things ever, but it's so worth it. Yeah. The relationships I've been building along the way, it's insane. So I'm just excited, man, for sure.
So elaborate a little bit. What is your why?
Man, so I'll say for me, it's family, for sure. My why, I think about my mom, who raised 5 kids, working 2 or 3 jobs. And I think about like literally granting her the kind of freedom that she deserves. Yeah. And thinking about my cousins. My mom's the oldest. It's 5 of them, but she was the first to start having kids. So all my cousins are all younger than me. And when I tell you the way they look to me, it's like, TJ, I'm like, God, I'm not gonna lie. It's like, it's pressure. It's pressure. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm built for it at the same time. And so I think about them, you know, I think about my family. It's everything that encompasses the family dynamic is my why, 100%, because that's a true currency, having the time freedom. And that's why I tell people, man, like, you know, I would take having my own time and making less money in my business than having a stable 9 to 5, but don't have control of my own time. Yeah. And trust me, coming from somebody who had 0 control of his time, I was gone 60, 70% of the year, and I was gone on call when they told me to. I would spend a month offshore. On my way driving back home from Louisiana, I get another call. Hey, we need you. Got to turn around, go spend another 2 weeks offshore. Like, this was my life, right? And so for me, the time freedom is the most important thing. And that also plays along with my why, because I don't ever want to go back to a 9 to 5. So I think about the result of inaction. Yeah. And I think about the result of inaction. It's like, okay, as a result, you want to go back to being an engineer? Like, are you going to keep applying pressure? So, yeah, 100%, man.
That's almost actually scarier than taking action.
Crazy, right?
Staying stable.
Exactly.
That's more risky, 100%.
Exactly. I forgot who that was that actually started framing that question. It's like, oh, man, okay, should I do it? Well, what is it going to cost you if you don't do it? Right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Right. What if you don't take action, what is it going to cost you? Yeah. So, yeah, 100%, man. And
so if they're just learning about real estate investing, what would your advice be for someone like that?
They're getting started in real estate investing. I would say don't be too broad, and especially when you get started. Because when I got started, that was one of the mistakes I made. I wanted to wholesale, I wanted to buy and hold, I wanted to sub to, I wanted to do owner finance. So I think for folks who are just getting started, understand that there's a lot of avenues and way that you can go in this real estate game. There's so many routes that you can go. Pick a route and go all into that route. And also give yourself permission to pivot. You know what I mean? As a wholesaler, I thought I was going to be one of the best wholesalers. I said, man, I'm going to go full-time wholesale. I'm about to be the wholesale guy. When I launched my first short-term rental, I was like, it resonated so heavy with me. I was like, yeah, I'm not ever wholesaling again. Done and done. But it was a struggle to pivot though. I was like, but don't you still want to be known as a wholesale guy? So I was trying to do both. I'm wholesaling, I'm doing this, but I realized that, man, this short-term rental business, man, if I really want to go in, if I really want to make a change in this cash flow game with this short-term rental, I need to go all into this.
All in.
I need to go all in. So that's why I would say with people just getting started, figure out, understand that they all work. Every single one of these strategies work. It just, do you work, right? And so as you're getting started, figure out what lane you want to go into, go all in, but give yourself permission to pivot if you feel you need to. And understand, again, you don't have to know everything. Don't be like me. Do not be like me. If I could have got started a year earlier, but I took an extra year to research. So understand, just know enough. Just know enough. That's it.
And then what do you think separates those who do the research versus those who actually go and take action and do a deal?
I think the mindset, because it's the fear that separates them. Because that was what was separating me from my greatness. It was the fear. It was the fear of unknown, right? It was the fact that I couldn't understand that the risks were necessary. And that, to me, I think that's probably one of the things that keeps people going, is just the fear to actually scale or actually get going, for sure.
And then earlier in the show, you mentioned some of the markets that you were targeting. How do you go about determining which markets to actually target? So
I like to tell people, if you're wherever market that you're in, if you can, start close to home. Start in your backyard. You'll have an easier time, a lower barrier to entry going into it. And you'll be able to build systems right here in your local market and then branch out. Now, depending on what strategy you want to do, your local market might not be ideal for the strategy that you want to do. Then, okay, go into a different market. You can definitely run a play in the beginning at a completely different market to be very successful, right? I just think that, especially for folks who are brand new, maybe starting close to home would be a lower barrier to entry. That would be my recommendation.
Love it, man. And final question, bro. So our podcast is called Blue Gems, right? And it's all about dropping gems and nuggets and tips, right?
Yeah.
If you could leave the audience with one more blue gem, it could be about anything. It could be about real estate, relationships, mindset, business in general, or just in life in general. What would you want to leave them?
You know, I'm going to get tactical with this one. It's going to be a short-term rental thing.
Let's go.
It's going to be a real estate thing. You know, one of the things that allowed me to scale my rental arbitrage business was when I changed my mindset and the value that I brought to this industry and to landlords. When I would go talk to landlords at first, the mindset was more so scarcity. It was like, hey, Mr. Landlord, I really want to do this Airbnb thing. Will you let me rent your property out? And it was more so like the mindset of that kind of approach. Then I had to learn that, dude, you're the prize, bro. Understand that you are the best tenant they'll ever have. You're the perfect tenant, and your ability to provide that and position yourself as such is what's going to allow you to get the yes. So I changed my mindset. So when I started talking to landlords, it was more so like, it's in your best interest to work with me. I actually feel bad for you if you don't work with me. You know what I mean?
You're the one in demand.
Exactly. Right. So I'm the one in demand here. Understand, I'm going to be your best tenant. Nobody's going to take care of your property the way I'm going to take care of this property. Nobody's going to make sure your rent's paid on time the way I'm going to make sure your rent's paid on time. Understand how we even add additional, all the things that we talk to them about is, look, we're your ideal tenant. If you don't want to work with us, cool. But when I changed my mindset and my approach, it literally, it was like every other landlord I talked to was giving me yes. And so I wish I had the mindset going into it. I would have had a lot more units, a lot more. So if you're looking to scale your short-term rental business, and a lot of people want to start this business and start with arbitrage, and that's great. Start with arbitrage. I recommend it. Just understand when you're having these conversations, understand the value that you bring to the table. Know that you are the prize and you are the perfect tenant if you're doing this business right. You really are. You really are. So having that mindset, having those conversations with that mindset, watch what happens. Watch how many more deals you close than not understanding the value that you provide going into these conversations.
Man, mic drop. Let's go. Oh, bro.
Man, thank you so much.
This is great.
Where can people find you?
Man, find me on IG Heavy. Find me on IG Heavy. LinkedIn too. Everything's the same at TJ Tijani. That's at TJTIJANI. And I'm having an event in Houston, August 19th and 20th. It's my first summit. I got some big heavy hitters coming to tap in, come speak at the summit. Rental-summit.com to grab your tickets for that. I recommend grabbing tickets ASAP before they go up. It's going to be an event like no other. An event where I'm having a lot of my friends that are the best in their industry and what they do. They're coming to add crazy value to that stage. And it's going to be a game changer. Come hang out with us in Houston, downtown Houston. We're going to have a great time, August 19th and 20th. Oh, and by the way, I'm launching a boutique hotel on the third day, the 21st. Now, the event is a 2-day event, 19th and 20th. Every VIP ticket holder will also have access to come to the launch party. And we're doing a Sunday Fun Day style, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Drinks, DJ, food. I got the mayor coming out. It's going to be a hell of a party on day 3. But again, main event ends Saturday, but Sunday Fun Day style. For all the VIP ticket holders, come party with me. And if you know anything about me, we like to go up. We like to have a good time. So yes, definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in Houston for sure.
Yo, that's going to be epic.
It's going to be
excited.
epic.
Let's go.